So the quote of the week says, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Anybody watch football games in the last couple weeks? Yes. It's completely off subject. I'm not typically somebody that watches a lot of these games, and unless there's some real competition and real interesting things, I just don't have an interest in it. But I have to tell you, I've seen some amazing games in the last few weeks. Amazing professional and college games. And they're great lessons in tenacity, in hard work, in staying with it, in stick-to-itiveness, in being prepared in the fourth quarter, in the last minutes of the fourth quarter. A couple of things. A, staying with your head in the game and still thinking you can win. That catch yesterday, the last pass of the game, the guy came up with it. One guy was in the wrong position, or was in the wrong place at the wrong time anyway, and caught the ball, walked in. He could have caught the ball and been tackled and pushed out, and the other team would have won. The odds of him catching the ball, not having a defender there that he could run another 20, 25 yards were stacked against him, and yet, presence of mind, last opportunity, walked in. That's what we have to do. The beauty of this business, and you hear, people they're trying to get back into it, and you're off for an hour or two, and you lost momentum, and all those kind of things happen. But the beauty of this business, you pick up the telephone, or you go knock on some doors today, this afternoon still, and could you pick up a lead that could need to buy or sell something in the very near future? Yes or no?
Yes.
Absolutely. And that could turn into a listing. And right now, listings are like platinum. And you get a listing, you've got a sale. Which means, and if you've got a good buyer, maybe you've got a sale too, pretty quick, especially if it's a cash buyer, and there's a lot of them out there. You can have an escrow and it could close in 30 days, and you could go from not having anything to having something in less than 30 days or so. That's this business. No other business is like that. This is an amazing business. So don't forget it. It turns on a dime, just like that football game did yesterday. So that's number one. Number two, you guys are coming to our business planning event tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes. Good. Okay, come early. So there's a couple of things I put down here. Ideas on how to cash in on this year. Completely different than the business plan. Just some thoughts I'd written down that I thought you could benefit from. So I wrote down here, the first thought was, we need to get serious. Write that down. We need to get serious. Well, but Neil, I am serious. No, I really mean serious. We need to get serious. We need to get serious in our health. We need to get serious in our finances. We need to get serious in our business. We need to get serious with our family, the relationships that we have with our families. I wrote down here, it's the best of times and it's the worst of times. It's the best of times and it's the worst of times. I wrote down here, you need to set up money for your kids' college. College getting cheaper or more expensive?
More expensive.
Easier to get into or harder to get into? Harder to get into. I mean, you gotta have the top SATs, and you've got to have what do they call those classes that are AP classes? You got to have AP classes, top SATs. You got to be in every sport, the captain of every team, and maybe they'll look at you for college, and that's maybe. It's amazing. It's totally amazing. Totally amazing. I wrote down here the next thought, you have to get smart. Don't be casual about learning. Don't be casual about learning, okay? We need to get serious about health, finances, business, and family, and we've got to get serious about our learning. Don't be casual about learning the scripts. Get focused. Be consistent. Learn them. Get really good at them. You know, on a side note, you know, Cindy's job is to make sure that you do your job and that you're protected legally and that your money's protected, because what happens is if we make a mistake, then the clients are coming after us, right? So our job is to protect that to the best of our ability. But for her to stand up here and say that, you know, she has a long list of things that you're getting, not you guys, because I know you guys get it, okay? It's the other you guys out in the world that are out there, okay, that I'm talking about. But we're getting it. The scripts and dialogues. You know, I come into the scripts and dialogues classes, you're getting it. You really are getting it. You're knowing what to say and how to say it. And every week, get a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. Could you be better? Yeah. But you're getting better. Yes, agreed?
Yes.
And you're sticking with it. It's fantastic. I wrote down here, don't be casual with going to previewing. You were wondering if I was going to talk about previewing property, right? You know what's kind of neat? Is that you guys kid me and laugh, but you're starting to preview property. You're starting to preview property. And I hear little comments like, wow, because I was out there, I met a client. Because I was out there, I saw a house, and I didn't realize that this had as much RV parking, and it's so what my client was looking for, and it really wasn't the house I would have picked for them, but it's exactly going to fit because I went and previewed the property, and I saw that their boat's going to fit into the site. You wouldn't know that if you weren't out previewing the property. I'm hearing these comments. We're putting transactions together, okay? And then I wrote down here, every workday, you have to be asking yourself a question. How can we improve? How can we improve? How can I improve? How can I get a little bit better? I wrote down here, don't be lazy in learning. Learning is the beginning of wealth. Don't be lazy in your learning. Learning is the beginning of wealth. And we're going to talk about how to get rich tomorrow. Tomorrow's business plan event is going to be very focused on how to make big money, good money, and parlay it into big money, selling houses, okay? And then taking that money as you start to earn the money and putting it in investments so that in the beginning it's a little bit slow and it seems to not move as fast as you'd like it to move. Yet what happens is over time you start to build a little bit of momentum. You buy one house. And most people that have one house as a rental own two fairly quickly. It's once you get the first one, you then generally get the second one fairly quickly. And then sometimes it slows down a little bit. You kind of get used to collecting the rents and taking care of the issues and things like that. And then you need to save a little bit more money for the down payment. And then you get that third house. And all of a sudden, you've got 3 pieces of property and the home you're living in. So all of a sudden, it's not all of a sudden, but 3-4 years, you're with 4 pieces of property. And 4 pieces of property starts to be the beginning of real wealth. And once we show you how to work on that to get the tenants to pay it off over time, and you end up with a free and clear asset, I mean, and we're going to talk more about that, building the money on a monthly basis, and then building the wealth. But it starts with the first step. It starts with starting to make the money and then understanding what you need to do with that money. Some people want to start with motivation. Don't do that. Start with learning. Don't start with motivation. Start with learning. Here's what I'm talking about. When I get excited, I'll go do it. Okay, I'm going to sit here, and when I get motivated, when I get the urge to door knock, when I get the urge to do the scripts and dialogues, when I get the urge to preview property, I'll go do it. How fast does that tend to happen? But if you work on learning the scripts and dialogues, if you work on previewing the property, even though, I get this all the time. Well, Neil, I don't want to preview property because I don't have a buyer. What a waste of time. Did anybody ever think that? Not this group, somebody else. Okay? When I first started in real estate, I thought that. I really did, 40 years ago. So why would I look at property just to look at property? Because, I mean, I'll be looking at property over here, and then I'll find a buyer, and they'll want property over there. So now I got to go look over there. So I wasted the time over here. Did I really waste the time over here?
No.
No. But I thought I did. And then a veteran shared with me, hey, wait, you need to know what's going on in the marketplace. I didn't go to caravans. You know, that, well, this is a stupid activity. You know, previewing property. We didn't go to the caravans. And yet, over time, you know what's going on in the community. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So what we need to do is we need to learn first, and the learning then starts to motivate us. Do you get it? When you know what to say and how to say it at a really high level, you're excited about going and telling people that, right?
Yeah. Right.
Right?
Yes.
If you don't know what to say and how to say it, how excited are you about telling people you don't go, you don't do, you can't get going? Why? Because your ego doesn't want to let you look foolish in front of a client. You guys with me on this?
Yes.
Okay, so you see how this starts with, it's counterintuitive. When I get motivated, I'll go do. No, we need to learn, and then I'll be motivated. Okay?
Yep.
I wrote down here, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Jim Rohn. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. How do you get better? Preview more property. Preview more property, you know the marketplace. Client comes to you and says, hey, tell me about a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a tile roof on a cul-de-sac. You probably will have seen a couple. Were they still available? I don't know. But boy, if somebody came to me and said, hey, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house on a cul-de-sac, well, I happened to, last week I saw a couple. They were over here in Walnut. You know, they were in the Roland School District, or they were in the Walnut School District, whatever they were. But I'm starting to sound like what? A professional, like I know what I'm saying and what's going on. Now, I might tell them, look, I don't know if they're still available. I'll check. And if they are, would you like to go see them at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock? Well, maybe 2 o'clock. You find out they're not available because they were sold, but you have 2 others to show them. You call them back. Hey, let's go take a look at the property. Get it?
Yep. Yes.
But they want to work with you because you sound knowledgeable. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. I wrote down here, get going. No matter how smart you are, you have to take action. No matter how smart you are, you have to take action. No matter how smart you are, you have to take action. Start small. Everything affects everything else. Start small. Everything affects everything else. I want you to do a 5-5-10. You say, it takes too much time, I can't figure it out, I'm not gonna do it. I say to you, start with what? 1. Go see 1. Well, 1 isn't worth it, Neil. I don't want to go see 1. However, if you do go see 1, is it possible that that 1 might fit some property for a buyer that you've already got or could think of? Is that possible?
Absolutely.
Okay. Is it possible that when you go preview the property, that you might talk to the seller and the listing agent isn't talking to the seller or mad at the seller, or the seller's mad at the listing agent, and they say to you, hey, I want to buy a piece of property. As soon as this sells and I don't like my listing agent, can you help me? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, you just went to preview 1 house, but now you have a potential of a buyer as soon as this property sells. If you go to preview this property, is it possible when you're walking up to see the property and you look off to the right or the left at the next door neighbors that they're peeking through their window trying to see who just parked in front of the, and they're the nosy neighbor, and they want to know what's going on, and maybe the house just came on the market and they'd like to know the price. They're not of the inclination to get on the phone and call because they don't want to be bugged about selling. So they see you walking in and they step outside and say hi. So are they selling that house? Big sign in front of it. Yeah, they are selling it. You know, you say what? Would you like to see it? You guys with me on this?
Yeah.
We could script some more scripting here. Would you like to see it? Yeah. Now you have a potential sale that you're working with because you went to preview
From
1 house. Do you get my point?
Yes.
So 1 isn't the number I'd like you to use, but if it's all I can get you to do it. You guys with me on this?
Yes.
Oh,
Neil, could I add that one?
please.
I went to the expired drop off and then doing up and my owner. So after I talked with the owner said, Lita, can you come with me? The property down the street, I want to buy that one. Can you get that property for me? So he grabbed me to the property. It was a vacant, and then window has a cardboard and then wooden bar. So of course I trying to sell it today. We have a buyer already, and it's gonna be cash buyer.
Right.
And this is the story. And the next door, just like you said, the owner was just outside of the property, and the seller said, do you know anything going on for the next door? And then she telling me the story, and no, I want to sell it. I want to move out this property for the next.
So you ended up with 3 leads
Yeah.
from going to
One
see an
property.
expired listing?
One property, and that one, and then so I went to the appointment, so went there for the next door, abandoned property next door, and then I do have my mom who has a property over there, so we might sell that one too. That everything is what you're saying from the one property happened just the last week, and I'm having Wednesday appointment for the mother's house. We believe in you.
We believe in, well, Lita believes in me. They got 1. I just need 1. I got 1. I got 2. I got 2. Do I hear 3? 3 here, and we got 4. Woohoo! All right. Whoa, we got 5. Okay, we got 5.
So
I'm not gonna push it.
I truly believe that it's being on the road, being out there. We believe in you.
Thank you. Thank you for affirming that. I appreciate it. And that's kind of my point, is if you won't do the 5, do the 1. You'll see that the 1 works, and you might do 2. You get it?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Truth is, we could use some more business, right?
Yes.
No matter where you are in business, we all could use some more business.
Yep.
And yet, And we all agree what I'm talking about here, even if we don't do the 5, we do the 1, can and will and usually does get us business, yet we don't do it. Why?
Why?
Why? If I knew the answer to why, we'd all be sitting on an island somewhere, just enjoying ourselves, because that would be the deal. Because most of us need to get more. I'm going to talk to you guys tomorrow. I'm going to give you a little preview. I'll get more in depth, but Eric just gave me some numbers before we get started here. You guys, individually and collectively, 17 over 16, because I pushed, because I jumped up and down, because the coaches pushed, because the coaches jumped up and down, encouraging, pushing, pulling, getting another listing, open another deal, work on this. Let me tell you, fourth quarter, year over year, the board was down 6%. Fourth quarter, 17 over fourth quarter, 16. The board was down 6%. Century 21 Masters, up 35%.
Wow.
35%. The money was just a hair under $1 million in gross closed commissions from 16 to 17. Can you imagine? Now that's money we all shared in, of which you got the lion's share of. Because every day, for 90 days, we were pushing, pulling, ranting. Now everybody needs more money, right? Say yes.
Yes.
Every one of us needs more money. Yet I had to go into, I had to crank it, my wife is looking at me like, what? You're nuts. Pushing, encouraging, texting. I'm like a texting king over there. I thought emails weren't helping, but texting, whoa, this is good. We're getting action here. And phone calls and talking to people. $1 million, you guys. $1 million at a time when the board was down 6%. Think about that. Our competitors were slightly down. Same period of time, same 90-day period. So if I ask you to do 5, try to do the 5. But if you won't do the 5, because we don't know why, but if you won't do the 5, do the 1, because like Lita said, the 1 turned into 4.
Yeah, wow.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
And I hear this story again and again and again and again and again. I wrote down here, every new discipline gets new discipline. Every new discipline gets new disciplines, and great things happen. Every new discipline gets new discipline. So my 5:03 in the morning, up until a few days ago, and I can't tell you what changed, what snapped in my head. I really can't. I don't know. But my 5:03 is still 5:03. But instead of walking at a okay pace around the streets of Beverly Hills, I got back on my treadmill Saturday, I guess it was Friday morning, starting Friday morning, and went for 1 hour and did it at an average of 3.5, whatever that is in the thing. Some 4, some 3, but the average said 3:05 for 1 hour, sweating like crazy, much more intense exercise than I had been doing. And when I got on the scale this morning, I didn't feel lighter, but I was down like 1.5 pounds. Now,
Without eating tacos.
I was eating, no, I'm still eating tacos. That's the thing. I'm still eating the tacos. I didn't cut out the tacos yet. Whoa. But the point is, it was a little thing. It was a little tiny tweak.
Yeah.
And a little bit of an increase, ever so slight. The new discipline got some new disciplines. That was my point. Okay? We got to do this. We really got to do this. Then I wrote down here the last thought. The last thought is get better. The last thought is get better. Personal development and personal growth. Read more. Hang out with richer people. Hang out with smarter people. I said this last week somewhere, one of the offices, you're the same today. You are the same today that you will be 5 years from now. Except for the people you hang out with and the books you read. So if you don't read and you don't change the people you hang out with, where you are today is where you'll be 5 years from now. The truth is, if you think about where you were 5 years ago and compare it to today, some people it's different. Some people it's not. It's an interesting thing. But you can change it by reading a few more books. And when you read books, it doesn't mean you have to take the whole book and sit down and read it now. Read a page. Read 2 pages. That's it. Put it away. This afternoon, read another page or 2. Or make it tomorrow. You can make those changes. You're the same today as you'll be 5 years from now, except for 2 things. The people you meet, hang out with, and the books you read. You are the mirror of your influences. You are the mirror of your influences. Positive and negative. Those of us with kids, we say that to our children from when they're infants. You know what, Louie, Mary, Susie, you can't hang out with him. He's a bad influence on you. She's a bad influence. You know what I'm talking about. We do this all the time. We do it all the time. That person's a bad influence on you. Okay? Or that person's a good influence on you. We want to get it. We as parents get in our car and we drive our kids over for a play date with those kids. Don't we?
Yes.
So we do that. And we make sure that our kids are not available for the other kids. I remember, it's clear as day, Adam had a friend in high school. Nice kid. But his parents weren't around, and he wanted to go over to the house. The kid had purple hair, clue, okay? And Adam didn't. And he wanted to go play at his house, and the parents weren't home. And I said, that's just not going to happen. And of course, he ranted and raved, and Adam is 6'4", so it's like, so when he jumps, it shakes the house. So you get a little worried. But as a parent, you have to take certain stands and do certain things. Now, I don't know where that kid is today, but and maybe that kid is Zuckerberg and runs Facebook. I don't know, but I don't think so. But you get what I'm saying? Who are our influences? I wrote down here, you are the mirror of your influences, good or bad. If you're hanging out with smart people, you're going to tend to do smart things. If you're hanging out with not so smart people, you're going to tend not to do smart things. Look, you guys are with Masters, and Masters in the last quarter of this year, we were out trying to work. Some of us were able to sell some houses, some of us were able to list some houses. It didn't happen for everybody, but overall, we were out staying at it. Most of your friends, the ones you know in other companies, they weren't doing that, were they?
No.
They weren't doing that. They certainly weren't doing it at the same level if they were doing it, okay? And as a company, they didn't make $1 million more. $1 million more year over year, gross. More, all right? More. Not $1 million only. Million more. What did I say? More. Okay, and what is more? More is better. These ideas help?
Yes.
So a couple of good ideas here?
Yes.
Some things to kind of move you forward. Think about it. Take some of these ideas. Think about what you want to do business-wise. Think about where you're going to go. I want you there tomorrow. I want you there early. I want you there without a I can't do this. Okay? You've got to take that switch and leave it outside. Okay? Because there's nothing I'm going to talk about, nothing that we're going to present to you, nothing that we've talked about here that you can't do. If you won't do the 5, it's not that you can't do the 5. If you won't do the 5, do the 1. 0 won't get you anywhere, because if you're not out previewing something, you don't get any of the opportunities. So you've got to do 1. 2's better. And if you can't do the 5, if you won't do the 5. Okay? All right, everybody. Be focused. Be committed. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a great afternoon.